All right, back with another tier rankings video. Week 14 now. That I don't like the sound of that. Season ending. I don't love that. But tier rankings. Let's get into it. Bengals. They played tonight, so still no information. I believe I put them in plucky but bad last week, so we'll see if that changes. Obviously, that's because of the Burrow injury. They'd be a lot better if it wasn't for losing your most valuable player. That kind of goes without saying. The Giants, I also put in the plucky but bad tier last week. Again, feels appropriate. No reason to change it, obviously, this week. So they're going to stay there. The Niners, I mean, honestly, they are the Super Bowl contender at this point. They're the Super Bowl favorite, in my opinion. What they've done this season, they had that 3-game losing streak, but outside of that, they've been incredible, and they've crushed the other two real contenders in the NFC. Spoiler alert for the other teams I might have in the Super Bowl contender, but you got to put them there. It goes without saying. The Saints, I still think they're mid. It's one of those things where I almost feel like because they were, they have so much like name brand recognition, we kind of overvalue them at certain points. I think they're fine. I hear people saying like, man, how does this offense not score more points? I don't know. Kind of this is what the offense should be scoring, really. I mean, with how they're playing right now, like it kind of makes sense to me. So I think they're a mid team, and they do have some injuries now as well. Defensively, so that doesn't help. Not this week, but in previous weeks. The Bears are another plucky but bad team. I think with Fields, they're interesting. I still think they're a bad team, but there's intrigue there. The Packers, I believe I put them in. I put them in one of the bad tiers. I forget. I think it was plucky but bad. They're, to me at this point, for sure playoffs. However, tier. I think again. Are they going to make the playoffs for sure? I don't know. That's not really the point of these tiers. The point is like they're a for sure playoff caliber team. There still is a however, and the however is they're playing great right now, but they haven't played great all season. And is this just, are they hot right now, or is this who they are right now? And Christian Watson just got hurt, and I think he was doing some really nice things these past couple weeks for them. So that's the however. That being said, I think they're really good. I can't put them in Super Bowl contender, but I think this tier to me feels totally appropriate. The Cardinals, I'm still putting in plucky but bad. Yes, big win against the Steelers, but the Steelers kind of, I might have said more about the Steelers than the Cardinals. There's certainly a solid team with Kyler Murray though, so they're not a bad. They're a bad team, but they're plucky. Ravens, I'm still going to put in the Super Bowl contenders. They were there last week, didn't play this week. Goes without saying. Cowboys, I am still going to put in Super Bowl contenders, even though the defense didn't play great against Seattle. Dak Prescott in this offense is playing fantastic. Still kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, but as of right now, it hasn't, so putting them there. The Bills, I forget where I put them last week. Maybe playoffs feels right, though, for me. Again, I think Allen's been incredible this year, despite what people that read the box score stats and don't watch the games might tell you. That being said, I still think that there's just some issues. The defense hasn't been great. There's issues on the Bills' offense. I think maybe playoffs feels fair. The Chargers, I don't know what to make of that 6-0 win. I guess, hey, your defense got a shutout. That's good. I don't know. I've been putting them in mid. I think I got to put them to plucky but bad. Feels like that's a popular tier so far in this one. The Broncos for me are still maybe playoffs. Wilson kind of hasn't been great these past couple of weeks. It's weird. When everyone's talking about how great he actually is kind of taking a step back. When people were saying he should be traded earlier in the year, he was maybe playing a little better than he is right now. Not his best game. The 3 interceptions isn't great. They were still able to almost win that game, though, against a good team. So you got to give him credit for that. I did think Houston was the better team, though, but they're maybe a playoff team. Definitely, like I said, Russell Wilson maybe not playing his best football right this week, but I still think is much better than what he was last year. Still a good quarterback, and there's enough here for this Broncos team that I think they probably get into the playoffs, but I don't know if they're doing much more than that. So, which is still a big step up from where we thought they'd be after week 6. The Lions are going to be a for sure playoffs, however, team. I still have the concerns about their defense, and even against the Saints, whose offense hasn't looked great this year, the offense was able to look pretty good against the Lions, and you were basically spotted a 21-point lead. I mean, you did the work to make that happen, but then they couldn't, they really kind of hung on to that game when they could have, ran away with it. So that was a bit concerning. Defense can make some big plays, but they can also give up just a ton of points. The Chiefs. Do we put the Chiefs out of Super Bowl contenders? They've now lost 3 games. They've lost as many as the Lions, who aren't in the Super Bowl contenders tier. They have Patrick Mahomes, their Super Bowl contender. I'm sorry. That's how it works. I'm not saying that no matter what, if you have Mahomes, you're in the Super Bowl contender, but they have enough else. Their defense has been great this year. Yes, the offense hasn't been as good. Yes, that is concerning. Yes, I do think there's some real issues there, but I think that I think there's as good of a chance of them winning the Super Bowl as Dallas winning the Super Bowl, and I feel like it would be disrespectful to put Dallas out of the contenders. So, yeah, is it using history to make that decision? Yeah, I don't think that's a terrible, crazy thing to do. The Falcons are going to be mid. Again, really not the most promising victory over the Jets. You got to win. I guess, you got to take that. But, defense played well. But, again, the Jets' offense is terrible. So I don't know how much to take into that. Still, you would have liked to see Ritter play a little bit better. But the Jets' defense is good. So, huge win next week for Atlanta. And, I'm just going to put, just to finish up the NFC South, and just for the funny visual of 3 NFC South teams being in the mid-tier, Tampa Bay also in the mid-tier as their team that, they've played okay football. They beat the Panthers. Mike Evans is great. They're Mike Evans. That's what they are. They have a couple of stars. Antoine Winfield is awesome. Vita Vea is awesome. Lavonte David's been hurt, but when he's playing, he's awesome. They're a star-driven team at this point. Baker didn't have a great day, but he's been good this year. So, there's so many issues on this team, but I don't know. The stars are propping them up to be a mid team at this point. The Philadelphia Eagles, again, you could knock them down. I'm still going to put them in Super Bowl contenders. Yes, it was a tough loss, but if I'm putting Dallas in that tier, I have to put Philadelphia in that tier. If I'm putting Kansas City in that tier, I have to put Philadelphia in that tier. The Eagles do have some impressive wins. It's really just the one loss against the 49ers, which, again, we can say that about a lot of teams right now. So I still think they're a contender if they can find a way to get past San Francisco in the NFC. The Browns still don't think are great. I really don't. I'm actually in between mid and plucky but bad. I'll give them mid because I do think Flacco showed enough to be like a solid backup caliber quarterback, which is honestly an upgrade from what they've had this season. So I think that they're okay. Their defense is good. I just don't know what the ceiling is because even if they had good quarterback play, this isn't a perfect offense. They've been injured. It is what it is. I'm talking about right now with the injuries. It's just they're in a tough spot. The Texans, again, to me, they feel like a playoff team. They feel like a for sure playoffs, however, caliber team. I don't know if that means they get into the playoffs. I don't, because the AFC is stacked. I think they do get into the playoffs, and there's still some concerns about just they haven't looked great week in and week out. They lost to the Panthers this year, right? So they've had some missteps, but they feel like a playoff team to me. The Colts, I'm in between for sure playoffs, however, and maybe playoffs. I think I'm going to go with maybe playoffs. Gardner Mitchell's been very fun. I think that the Jonathan Taylor injury stinks. And again, Titans aren't a great team, and they took you to overtime. I get it. It's a divisional matchup. It's different. Whatever. Still, I think you would have liked to see them win that game by a little bit more. I still think they get into the playoffs, though. I'm projecting that, but I think maybe playoffs feels like the correct tier for them. The Rams are another team. I think maybe playoffs feels like the right tier for them. Stafford played very well. Stafford has his ups and downs. We know that with Stafford. I did talk about on the podcast, though. It's like you can't help but think about if the Rams get into the playoffs, what if Stafford gets hot, right? That is always something that you have to wonder because it literally happened 2 years ago where the Rams were a better team that year, but they were the 3 seed. They weren't like the 1 seed, and Stafford got hot. Little different doing it as a 3 seed than a 7 seed, but still, it's possible. I wouldn't want to play another team that kind of relying on stars, but the depth players doing enough, even if they're not big names, they're making plays. Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins, another casual blowout, as when they're playing bad teams, they just trounce them, right? And they played a bad team, and they trounced them. Again, it's one of those things where on one hand you want to sit here and say, man, what is Ron Rivera doing, leaving Tyreek Hill one-on-one? It's also one of those crazy things, though, where it's like we just accept that it's a completely stupid decision to have any corner try to cover Tyreek Hill one-on-one. Like, we just accept, like, yeah, you can never do that ever. It's a terrible idea. It's going to result in a touchdown every time. Like, that's the value that he brings to the table. Their offense is playing incredible right now, and their defense is playing much better. So, and that's why, preseason, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. I picked Eagles, Dolphins. My reasoning was I thought this offense could be unstoppable and their defense could actively be good. And once Jalen Ramsey got back, and that could potentially be happening. Next up on the list is the Minnesota Vikings, who did not play, who I think they're a mid team. Again, their defense has been much better. I don't remember where I had them last week, but I'm still not fully into the Dobbs hype, although I do have to say with, Jefferson coming back, maybe that's, maybe there's some intrigue there, so we'll see. The Patriots are bad. They are a very bad team. The Jets are also bad, and so are the Panthers. Those three right in a row make it very easy for me because, yeah, they're all bad teams right now. I mean, the Panthers honestly might look like the most competent team. Are they the best offense out of those three? I kind of think they are, weirdly enough. Patriots defense looked good against the Chargers. I guess you got to give them credit for that. But, I mean, this offense is terrible. The Jets are intentionally starting Tim Boyle, which is just an insane decision. Not anymore. They're going to Trevor Siemian, and honestly, he might be the best option there. I don't hate that decision at this point to go with Trevor Siemian. And then, again, Panthers, they at least looked competent against Tampa Bay, but still aren't winning football games. So, yeah, three bad teams there. Next up is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had a tough loss, and I don't know. I mean, they're in one of these two tiers, I think. They're either mid or they're plucky but bad. They lost their starting quarterback. I think I'm going to put them in plucky but bad at this point. Sorry, Steelers fans, I am. But, if healthy, this team was a mid or at best maybe playoffs caliber team. I think, now they're not healthy. Yeah, the coaching, you expect them to find ways to win games. They could still make the playoffs. Like, that's still totally possible, just given their schedule. But, you just got beat badly by a team that, is currently going to be picking top 3 in the draft. It's not a good situation. Plucky but bad feels harsh, but it doesn't feel harsh for the Cardinals, and you just lost to the Cardinals. So, badly. So, you lost your quarterback midway through the game. Maybe Trubisky with, first-team reps can play better. It's tough for them right now. The Seahawks, it's funny. They feel like a playoff team. I'm going to put them in the for sure playoffs, however, tier. Now, I don't know if they get in because their schedule is brutal right now, and they have to find ways to win some of these games. But that was a quality loss against Dallas. I really do think that they kind of showed oh yeah, they can do that. You don't love to see your defense get lit up like that, but the offense looked great against a good defense. They feel for sure like a playoff team, although I don't know if they get in. The Raiders here are, I'll put them in plucky but bad at this point. I think that's where I've been putting them in. The Titans are another plucky but bad team. Told you it's a busy tier, as they're finding ways to stay competitive in football games, and quite frankly, probably should have won that game if it wasn't for some special teams mistakes, but I still don't know how much higher I can put them than that. Washington is a bad team. This defense is probably the worst in football right now, and then Jacksonville to round things out. Are they? They're definitely above maybe playoffs. The question is, are they for sure playoffs, however, or are they Super Bowl contenders? I've been putting them in this tier for a while, just because receiving corps has played great these past couple of weeks, but over the course of the season, maybe not so much. That's kind of been my however with them, but they could climb a tier for sure. It's getting busy in the Super Bowl contenders tier, though. Maybe I need another, maybe to break up another tier next week or something. But for now, that is my tier list. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.